If you're watching this, it's likely because your gut is telling you something is off. You've noticed a shift, a coldness, or a strange new dynamic in your relationship, and you're searching for answers. This video is crucial for you. When a wife begins to secretly fall in love with another man, even if she's trying to hide it, her behavior often changes in subtle yet discernible ways. These aren't just random acts. They are often unconscious tells, driven by a new emotional attachment, guilt, fear, or a fundamental shift in her emotional landscape. If you find this information valuable for understanding and navigating the complex emotional terrain of relationships, especially when trust is being tested, please take a moment to like this video. Subscribe to the channel for more honest insights and practical advice, and drop a comment below sharing your thoughts or any similar experiences you've encountered. 1. Increase secrecy and guardedness around her phone and online activity. In our hyper-connected world, a person's phone and their digital life are inextricably intertwined with their emotional landscape. They serve as a primary conduit for connection, intimacy, and the sharing of personal thoughts. Consequently, a sudden, significant, and dramatic increase in her secrecy and guardedness around her phone and all online activity is one of the most immediate, common, and undeniably telling signs that her emotional focus has shifted decisively towards someone else. This isn't merely about valuing personal privacy, which is healthy in a relationship. Instead, it is about actively, often frantically, concealing a burgeoning emotional or even physical connection. You might begin to notice her phone is almost constantly in her physical possession, even in routine situations where she used to leave it casually unattended, such as on a kitchen counter or a coffee table. She might habitually place it face down whenever she sets it down, or swiftly turn the screen away from you if you happen to walk into the room or pass by. If she previously operated with an open policy, leaving her phone unlocked or even allowing you access for simple tasks like checking the weather or playing music, she might now suddenly have new complex passcodes or change them frequently without explanation. Her communication habits can also undergo a noticeable and alarming transformation. You might observe her texting more frequently, but with a highly guarded, almost furtive demeanor, often accompanied by a strained smile or an averted gaze. 2. Emotional and physical withdrawal from the relationship. When a wife begins to fall in love with another man, her emotional and physical energy, which was once primarily directed towards her marriage, naturally and inevitably begins to shift away from her current partner and the relationship itself. This withdrawal isn't always overt or dramatic. More often, it manifests as a gradual but undeniable fading of presence, intimacy, and connection, leaving a palpable void in its wake. You might begin to notice a significant and consistent decrease in her emotional engagement with you. Conversations, which once delved into the depths of your shared lives, may become increasingly superficial, devoid of genuine curiosity or emotional investment. She might seem less interested in discussing your day, your feelings, your challenges, or the nuanced details of your shared life. Attempts to engage in deep, meaningful emotional topics might be met with quick changes of subject, evasive answers, or a dismissive attitude. Beyond emotional disengagement, there's often a noticeable and concerning decrease in physical affection as well. This isn't solely about the frequency or quality of sexual intimacy, though that is often significantly impacted. It extends to the everyday, seemingly small but vital gestures of affection that bind a couple. These might include holding hands, cuddling on the couch while watching TV, spontaneous hugs, or even a simple, comforting touch. 3. Increased criticism and unrealistic expectations towards you. As a wife's emotional focus and desires begin to shift towards another man, she often, perhaps subconsciously, starts to find disproportionate and often petty fault with her current partner and the existing relationship itself. This isn't necessarily about your actual objective flaws, which every human possesses. Instead, it's a powerful and insidious psychological mechanism she employs to justify her growing dissatisfaction with the marriage and, more critically, to rationalize her budding emotional or physical interest in someone outside the relationship. You might begin to observe a significant and sudden increase in her complaints about seemingly trivial things: your personal habits, your physical appearance, your choices in everyday matters, or even the way you perform routine tasks around the house. These criticisms can feel disproportionate to the actual issue, often exhibiting an intensity that seems unwarranted. Moreover, these critiques might focus on aspects of your personality or behavior that she never seemed to mind before, or even once found endearing. She might become easily annoyed, express frequent disappointment in you, or engage in nitpicking that wears down your self-esteem. Beyond personal critiques, she might also start complaining more broadly and intensely about the relationship as a whole, focusing intently on what she perceives as missing, wrong, or unfulfilling, even if you genuinely believed things were generally stable, content, or even thriving. 4. Sudden and unexplained changes in her routine or schedule. A stable and predictable routine often provides a fundamental sense of security, reliability, and shared understanding within a committed relationship. When a wife begins to fall in love with another man, her previously predictable schedule, which once aligned with your shared life, can abruptly become erratic, conspicuously vague, or filled with entirely new and unexplained commitments. This isn't merely about developing new interests or occasional spontaneous activity. It's about systematically creating hidden windows of opportunity for clandestine interactions. You might begin to notice her coming home late far more frequently than before, often without a clear, logical, or verifiable reason that holds up to scrutiny. She might suddenly develop an increase in work commitments that extend unusually late, new girls' nights that were previously rare, or completely novel hobbies that conveniently occupy significant blocks of her time, often during evenings or weekends. The crucial element here isn't just the lateness itself, which can happen innocently, but the profound lack of transparency or consistency in her explanations. Her stories about her whereabouts might become increasingly vague, subtly change or contradict themselves over time, or involve new people you've never heard of and are never introduced to, despite their supposed regular presence in her new schedule. She might also become noticeably less communicative about her day-to-day activities, offering only terse, uninformative answers, or she might suddenly become completely unavailable and unreachable during times she typically would have been easily contacted and communicative. These shifts create larger, deliberate blocks of unaccounted time, perfect for cultivating and deepening a new connection with an affair partner. 5. Heightened defensiveness or irritability when questioned about her time. A woman who is secretly falling in love with another man carries a heavy burden of secrets and anxieties. Any attempt to probe into her recent whereabouts, activities, or communications, no matter how innocent or benign, can feel like a direct threat to her hidden truth. This often triggers an immediate and disproportionate reaction of heightened defensiveness or uncharacteristic irritability. If you ask simple routine questions like, "How was your evening? What did you do today?" or "Who were you with?" she might react with sudden anger, a sharp tone, or an outright accusatory retort. Instead of providing a calm, open answer, she might snap, "Why are you asking so many questions? Are you interrogating me? You never trust me." Or even swiftly turn the tables and accuse you of being overly suspicious, controlling, or insecure. She might try to make you feel guilty for even voicing a mild concern, effectively training you to retract your question or even apologize for asking. Her explanations, if given, might be vague, contradictory, or delivered with an air of profound frustration, as if your questions are an unbearable imposition. You might notice her body language becoming more closed off, with crossed arms, averted gaze, or a tense posture, signaling her discomfort and desire to immediately end the conversation. This uncharacteristic hostility is a stark contrast to how she might have previously handled similar inquiries. 6. A renewed, often self-focused interest in her appearance. While a desire to look good is normal, a sudden, significant, and sometimes obsessive renewed interest in her appearance, particularly when it feels more focused on external validation than shared intimacy, can be a telling sign that she's secretly in love with another man. This isn't just about general self-improvement. It's about looking good for someone specific, someone new. You might observe her investing far more time, effort, or money into her looks than she has in a long time, or more than what seems typical for her usual routine. This could manifest as new, more flattering or revealing clothes that aren't typical for her usual style within your relationship. A drastic change in hairstyle, new makeup routines, a sudden obsession with fitness and body image, or a meticulous focus on details like manicures, pedicures, and new perfumes. The key here is the sudden and intense aspect, especially if these changes aren't motivated by a major life event you're aware of, like a new job that requires a different dress code, a significant health goal you're pursuing together, or a specific upcoming event. It often feels like she's dressing up or preparing to impress someone outside of your established relationship, especially when she leaves the house without you. She might take longer to get ready, or be noticeably more concerned about her outfit and presentation for mundane outings. 7. Newfound independence or a desire for more personal time. As a woman's heart begins to gravitate towards another man, she often feels a growing need for autonomy and more personal time, which serves as a vital cover and opportunity for her developing clandestine relationship. This isn't just about healthy personal space, it's about creating emotional and physical distance from you. You might notice her expressing a sudden or increased desire for activities that exclude you. She might initiate fewer shared plans, or even actively decline your invitations to spend time together, citing a need for me time, space, or time with friends you don't know well or are never introduced to. This newfound independence might seem positive on the surface, but it becomes a red flag when it consistently leads to long periods of unaccounted time, vague explanations for her whereabouts, or a general sense of being emotionally unavailable when she is physically present. She might pick up new hobbies that coincidentally take her away from home for extended periods, or suddenly have an increase in social engagements that seem to pop up spontaneously. The emphasis shifts from us time to my time, often with a sense of guardedness around what that my time entails. 8. Reduced emotional investment in shared problems or future planning. When a woman is secretly falling in love with another man, her emotional resources become finite and primarily redirected. Consequently, her emotional investment in your shared problems and future planning will noticeably decrease as her primary concerns shift to her new connection and her own separate future. You might observe a growing apathy when it comes to discussing and resolving shared marital or household issues. Arguments that once felt like a joint effort to find a solution might now be met with a flat, disengaged response, a quick dismissal, or a lack of willingness to compromise. She might seem to check out emotionally during conflicts, displaying indifference rather than concern. Similarly, when you attempt to discuss future plans, be it a vacation, financial goals, home improvements, or even long-term family aspirations, her responses might become vague, non-committal, or she might actively avoid the conversation altogether. She might not show the same enthusiasm or desire to contribute ideas for your future, because her mental and emotional energy is being spent on imagining a different future, perhaps with someone else. Her language might subtly shift from we to I when discussing future aspirations, signalling her emotional detachment from your shared trajectory. 9. Increased mentions of a new person or group of friends. As a wife secretly falls in love with another man, that individual, or the new social circle associated with him, will inevitably begin to feature more prominently in her conversations, even if subtly. This often happens because the new person is consuming a significant portion of her thoughts and time, and she may not even realize how frequently she brings them up. You might notice a new name or a new group of friends cropping up more frequently in her stories about her day or evening. She might talk about Tom from work or Sarah's new friend Mark, more than seems casual or normal. The conversations might dwell on anecdotes involving this new person, or she might seem unusually animated or defensive when speaking about them. The red flag isn't just the mention, but the context and emotional tone. Are these new friends you've never met? Does she avoid opportunities for you to meet them? Or does she quickly change the subject if you express curiosity? She might offer effusive praise for this new person's qualities. He's so funny. She's so adventurous. which might subtly or even directly contrast with implicit criticisms of you or your existing circle. She might also start comparing situations or opinions, citing this new person's perspective as if it holds significant weight for her. 10. A deep underlying sense of emotional absence or detachment. This is often the most profound, pervasive, and ultimately heartbreaking sign that a wife is secretly in love with another man. It's not a single behavior, but an overarching sense of her emotional absence, a profound detachment that permeates the relationship, leaving you feeling fundamentally alone, even when she's physically present. It signifies that her heart and soul have genuinely begun to connect elsewhere. You might feel a growing emptiness in the relationship, as if a vital spark has gone out. While she might go through the motions of daily life, there's a lack of genuine emotional warmth, curiosity, or connection. Her eyes might seem distant, her smiles less genuine, and her laughter less heartfelt when shared with you. Attempts at deeper conversations or emotional intimacy might feel forced, superficial, or simply met with silence. You might find yourself feeling emotionally starved, constantly seeking her connection, only to be met with a subtle, unyielding wall. It's the feeling that her light is no longer shining on you, but has been directed elsewhere. She might seem preoccupied, lost in thought, or subtly melancholic when alone with you, perhaps daydreaming about her new connection. This isn't just a bad mood, it's a persistent, underlying emotional coldness that signals a fundamental shift in her core feelings.